West Side Story. This is a remake of one of the movies that got me into movies. I remember where I was. Nobody else does, but I remember. A summer night in 2001 when my parents first showed me the original West Side Story. I fell in love with it. I believe it to be the greatest musical of all time, and I've been really looking forward to this. Steven Spielberg in the director's chair for this remake, and it looked so good. But throughout this week, I was saying to myself, taper off the expectations, because, what if it sucks? What if it's not as good as the original? What if it just kind of disappoints? And I have actually seen this movie twice, because the first time I saw it, it scared me how much I enjoyed it. And I woke up the next morning being like, okay, was it actually that good? Was it actually as amazing as I thought it was? And I went to see it with my parents today, and yes, the answer is yes. Guys, this movie it's amazing. This is like one of the great movies that you will ever see. It is so bizarre to me that this movie technically exists in the same medium as Venom: Let There Be Carnage. It technically exists in the same art form as Music or Old or The Woman in the Window or any of the terrible movies I've seen this year. This movie is on a plane, just separate from all other films that I've seen this year, or really the last couple of years. This is the movie of the year. I'll just say this is good. This is going to be my favorite movie of 2021. It will be one of my favorite movies of the decade. I think it's one of those rare remakes that it equals and in some ways enhances the original source material. And where it starts, oh my God, this movie looks gorgeous. The cinematography is incredible. And this is why Steven Spielberg is the GOAT. Okay, Steven Spielberg, 74 years young, stepping up to the plate, hitting a home run, showing the rest of the world how it's done. It's awe-inspiring. These musical sequences, every one of them, they just take your breath away. They really, all of them, they're all just a little bit different from each other. The choreography is incredible. These voices, I mean, I'll get to the cast here in a second, but just this soundtrack, it's timeless. And it's moving to me because I saw all the places they could have gone wrong with this, and they could have updated it and set it in the modern age and just, watered down the source material, and they didn't. And I'm so happy they didn't. Now, on to this cast. Man, all these people you can look forward to seeing in movies for the next 50 years. I'm going to start off with my personal favorite, because Riff in the original West Side Story is one of my favorite characters in any movie. And Mike Faced, this guy playing Riff, he out-Russ Hamlin's Russ Hamlin. You couldn't have found a better Riff. He's perfect. He's literally perfect, and he's so cool, and that's what Riff has always been. He's amazing in this. He gives a magnetic performance, just a phenomenal job. Great casting. Everybody else, this girl playing Maria, Rachel Zegler. Oh my God. One word of advice: bring tissues. Because every time she opens her mouth and starts singing, the waterworks are going to come out. If you're a big softie like me. Everybody else, Ariana DeBose as Anita is great. She'll get nominated for something. David Alvarez as Bernardo is wonderful. There's a lot of little supporting characters. Corey Stoll as Lieutenant Schrank added some much needed kind of levity and humor to this. Rita Moreno, who won an Academy Award for her performance as Anita in the original film. I thought that she would distract me, because if you've been watching my reviews, I hate forced cameos. I hate, hey, it's that person. You know what? She might get nominated for something for this. I mean, she has a heartbreaking musical number near the end of this movie. This music is timeless. This cast is just incredible. This story is as good as it gets. They don't make movies like this anymore. They really don't. This movie feels like it's stuck out of time. And maybe it's because it is a remake of, an original film that won 10 Academy Awards. But this just, you watch it, and maybe it's the Spielberg effect. It feels different than other movies. I'll come into other movies and I'll just be like, all right, whatever, here we go. All right. Oh, okay, there's a loud noise and, a bunch of CG and, oh, wow, okay. And I watch this, and it's effort and cinematography and acting and a story and direction. It's just the kind of thing you don't see anymore. And it's why this is a timeless story, and this will be a timeless classic. It is not 100% perfect. There's one issue, actually two issues that I have with it. One, the first third is legitimately perfect. And it's so emotional. The balcony scene, where they sing Tonight to each other, is just, it's one of the most amazing scenes I've ever seen, like, in a movie ever. Like, legitimately. I mean, just so moving. There is a portion in the second act where it feels like it's dragging a little bit. And I think it's more so a victim of its own success because it's just not as good as the first third was. And then you get to the Rumble scene and you get to the Tonight Quintet and it picks up steam again. And regardless of my complaints, any movie that gets the kind of emotion out of me that this movie has gotten out of me twice deserves the utmost respect. There's one other issue I have. The musical sequence, I Feel Pretty, which is a really well done sequence, and Rachel Zegler knocks it out of the park, as she does with every time she sings in this movie. There's a weird tonal shift. I won't spoil anything if you don't know the story, but one thing I've always liked about West Side Story are the stakes. Some really messed up stuff happens in this story, and you go from really severe consequences to one of the lighter musical numbers in the movie. And I thought that was a little bit odd. But again, it makes up for it. It makes up for it by doing things that other movies just don't do. The costumes are great. The set design is great. The acting, like I said, is great. The direction is incredible. This cast, they're all stars. They're all perfect. Oh, another thing. I've heard so many people complain about Ansel Elgort as Tony. He's fine. He's good. I always thought Tony was the weakest character of the original ensemble. He has an amazing voice, and I felt like his chemistry with Rachel Zegler worked. I don't know, man. I love this movie as much as I have loved any movie that I've seen in theaters in the last 6-7 years. And it's such a weird path that you take as somebody who watches film. And I know I'm very difficult on movies, and I'm a harsh grader when it comes to movies, but I know how good movies can be. And I will put up with 10 Venom 2s. I'll put up with 20 musics if it means that I can get to one West Side Story. This movie should win Best Picture. It feels like the caliber of movie that the world just needs now, to be honest with you, to just cleanse us of so many bad, pieces of art, quote unquote, that we've seen over the last several years. If you couldn't guess before, this is a 10 out of 10. I'm going to watch this movie so many more times over the next several years. I hold it absolutely on par with the original film. I think in many ways it's better than the original film. I can't wait to talk about it on Lights, Camera, Barstool. My heart is very full right now because they took something that mattered very much to me and they did it right. And that was I found that very moving. And I'm so glad that another generation of people are going to fall in love with this story the way that I fell in love with the original. So that'll do it for this review. You can follow me on Twitter at Castellani2014. While you're at it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get those watch hours up. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Peace and happiness.